Okay, we'll call our meeting, the Community Development Committee meeting to order for October 14th, 2025. Attendance has been taken.
Yes.
Thank you. So just a slight introduction. I'm new to this committee. I kind of fell in here by ear, asked to be a director on the committee, and I fill that role after the resignation of former mayor that was on the committee. So if we could just go around the table and we'll have everybody's name because I'm not familiar with the names. I know you people are, so we'll start over here with Tim.
Hi there, I'm Tim Fox and I'm with Hannon.
Thank you.
I'm Lise Motte and I'm the Capital Region Service Commission Community Development Coordinator.
You.
Carrie Bedford with the Department of Justice and Public Safety.
John Smith with the Capital Region Service Commission.
And I'm David Duplessis, Mayor of Central York. I'm also Vice Chair of the Service Commission here at the time and at least until the May elections.
Kelly Shaw, Secretary of the Board.
Thanks, Kelly. And start with you, Greg, at the bottom.
Sure, Greg Erickson, Councilor of the City of Fredericton.
Thank you. And Tim?
Tim Scammell, Councilor for the Village of New Maryland, and I work for Housing New Brunswick.
Thank you. Cheryl?
Cheryl Pepin, counselor with Harvey Rural Community, and I also work as a community developer for Horizon Health.
Okay, thank you all. Just getting familiarized here, so that's all that's on, right? That's right. So could I have a motion for approval of today's agenda? Moved by Tim Scammell. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Tim Fox. All those in favor of the agenda?
Aye.
Contrary minded, if any? Motion carried. Do we have any conflicts of interest today on today's agenda? Hearing none, we're good. Okay, so we'll move right into the 8 projects update and we'll ask Lise to go through this with us. Lise?
Right. So I'm gonna jump right in. So the first initiatives was to create host 5 events that promote collaboration amongst nonprofit organizations through the Capital Region. And this was similar to the speed dating for nonprofits that we've held the year before, where we introduced nonprofits to other nonprofits and
Okay.
Here, let me close this for you.
Just give me a second. Hi, Lorraine.
I just muted her.
Okay. There are not going to be 5 events. You know, it's been a crazy busy time, but we are going to host one event in November. And that will be we're not going to call it a speed dating. It's going to be basically a get together for faith-based communities. So churches, basically some of our church folks that have been coming to some of our resiliency meetings, and we're going to invite everybody in our region who is involved in a faith-based community, especially under outreach. And we're going to have them come together. We may still have sort of small 8-minute meetings and then shift and go, and it's going to be meetings of the faith-based community with a nonprofit. And we're also going to leave time for lunch and networking this time, because one of the comments we received last time is that they would have liked to have gone on a date with somebody they didn't have a date with, but there was no time. So they're going to be able to date everybody they want to, because we'll have lunch together, and also we'll have an afternoon sort of question and answer session. We'll collect some questions or things that they would like to discuss before the meeting, and then we'll discuss them as a group, and hopefully we can collaborate on some projects together, because there's a lot of good volunteering, a lot of good outreach being done in terms of food insecurity, clothing, and housing, and other things, social isolation projects that we could do together. Discussions have been held with United Way and also with GFSI regarding the website Connect Fredericton. That's a volunteer matching website. And of course, we're not looking at taking it on, but we're looking at supporting it and promoting it. So I'm still waiting for Sandy McKinnon. She is going to be talking to somebody who was working on that site before to see if anybody's going to take ownership of that and if we're going to continue to promote that. An in-person workshop on collective impact was held with the Tamarack Institute. along with community development members, community developers, and others on May 13th. And the goal was to better equip partners to collaborate, communicate, and align efforts for greater collective impact. It was successful. It was good. We didn't get as many participants as we might have liked. We may try this one in the future. One that was a little more successful and well received is the grant writing. I'll talk about that a little bit further. At least 8 workshops on community connectors 211 have been held in various communities within our region with researcher Lynn Ouellet. This project ensures that citizens are better equipped and motivated to help people needing support in their communities through a coordinated access to services. I think everybody here is familiar with 211, which is basically a very important navigation system. You call that number and 24 hours a day with people with, I believe they speak in 250 different languages. It's all over Canada. And they will let you know if you're looking for something, a municipal program, a federal program, a provincial program. But it's only as powerful as the people that feed into it, feed information into it. So every time we go into a community, we talk about 211, but we also encourage nonprofits to go in and put their information in. One example is that we found that one of the unmet needs for the area was seniors looking for people to shovel. Well, we just recently found out that there is a program, there was a program, I'm not sure if it still exists, where teenagers will go in, and I think they call them snow angels. They'll go in and they'll help seniors shovel in the winter. So all we have to do is make sure that this community group that does this uploads their information into 211 to let them know, so that when the navigators are searching and trying to find people to shovel, they say, oh, well, there's this Snow Angels program. This is how 211 works. And every time we go into a community, we talk about 211 and hopefully build it up. And Lynn Ouellet was going from community to community. She met with at least 8 different groups to talk about the dangers of social isolation, and also talking about how 211 can come and help people connect with benefits and with other people. There's still plans to convene leading members of communities living with disabilities to strategize ways to enhance social inclusion and connectedness in community in order to build capacity among organizations who represent our most vulnerable citizens. This will be done in collaboration with our partners at the City of Fredericton and GFSI. We're looking at doing an event for National Disability Week next year in the spring. I've been meeting with Gwen McIntyre, who works in community inclusion at the City of Fredericton, and we've also been talking with Sandy McKinnon from GFSI, and we're going to work together in creating a forum for persons with disabilities during National Disabilities Week. But we also want to add an element that deals with stigma reduction, reducing stigma around poverty, around mental health, around addictions, around anything, just basically stigma reduction as a whole, because in the last few years, it's been on the rise. Partnerships among faith-based organizations in the Capital Region are being strengthened as we strive to identify key assets, best practices, and leverage assets and opportunities for collaboration to support collective action that can strengthen the social fabric of communities. So every time we have a resiliency meeting, and of course we travel all over our region, we're going to Stanley this Thursday. We invite the local churches to join us and come and talk about the outreach work that they're doing. We've gotten a few here and there, and it's not every meeting that somebody comes, but we are growing that network, and they are interested, and we invite them after that to every meeting. And we've been able to connect some people together that way. And it's interesting because one newly arrived Baptist minister in Chipman had never met there's a priest there at the meeting, and they had never met. And after our resiliency meeting, they said, let's get together and talk about collaboration. So it's interesting. We're actually bringing some of these people together that may not have worked together before. But the goal is to get an actual network built with all the faith-based communities in the region, and see if there's some work that we can do in collaboration with each other. A grant writing workshop was presented by Porter O'Brien on March 20th, as well as a course on financial sustainability, best practices of not-for-profits and charities in today's world by KPMG. It was very well received, very well liked. As you know, for nonprofits, learning to fill in grant applications is very important. And so we were able to help people get some tips on how to have a better chance at succeeding when they apply. It's been requested that we put on another one. So we're going to look at doing that, but I think that it's important that we invite each municipality, and I think we did at that one, but it was just, we had a few people from the municipalities, but not as many maybe as we would have liked. They're busy people, and probably all our emails that we send to them are getting lost, but we will keep trying to invite everybody to attend any workshop that we put on. And then number 8, our regional transportation studies underway to consider the transit needs of the region and current assets. We've just signed and that was completed. We're still looking at sort of summarizing that and to present that better at a later time. Urban Rural Rides has been, we've signed a contract with them for 3 years, and they are present in many of our communities. And they're also implementing a provincial dispatch platform for its volunteer driver services, Blaze, and other transportation initiatives with support of $2 million from the provincial government. And so I think a lot of you are familiar with Urban Rural Rides. Not all of our communities are using Urban Rural Rides. A few of our communities prefer to use a different program. And that is up to them. We're trying to get Urban Rural Rides everywhere, just because it would be easier to have a consistent program, but it's not to everybody's advantage right now. So we'll continue to work away at a solution for that. And then there was one more little thing that we added on, because one of our grants was so successful with Dr. Lindsay Crump, who's a psychology professor. I wrote professor at university at UNB. She started a program called the Come Over program, where we're matching university students that need clinical time with seniors from the region, and at a very low cost for some counseling. So that has been an excellent program, both for the group of seniors, and now they're getting together on their own to sort of fight social isolation. So it's worked really well for the seniors, but it's been very well received by the Department of Psychology and the students. In fact, they've 2 of their psychology students have signed signed on for residency here in Fredericton. And so she asked if she could have additional funding to do this again in the fall, because she was doing it through the year. And so we had extra money. We knew that we weren't going to resolve the Connect Fredericton problem right away. So we thought, well, there's at least going to be $1,500 there we can throw your way, and hopefully get some more psychologists who want to stay in Fredericton. So well worth it. It's been a very successful program. The other thing that I'm going to mention, so those were the initiatives for the year, the Capital Region. I want to mention that our resiliency, through resiliency and ESIC, we are going through the grant application program. And Carrie and I have received 24 applications for grants. The deadline was October 3rd, I guess. And what a mix of really good projects going on in the community. And we should have an update for you at the next meeting about exactly everybody who received some funding and what projects are going to take place.
Thank you, Lise. Do we have any questions or comments for Lise at this point in time on the report? Okay, all good. We'll move on to the Capital Region's Resiliency Network update. Carrie?
Great, thank you. So Lise gave a great overview of the 8 projects that I've been working in partnership with at this table. As many of you know or may not know, Lise and I co-chair the Capital Region Resiliency Network. Many familiar faces around the table. I know folks have joined us on our journey every month. We meet the third Thursday of every month. So we are meeting again this Thursday, and we are at the Pentecostal Church in Nashua this week. We're seeing probably over 400 people on that distribution list, roughly 40 people in attendance every month, and those numbers continue to grow. We are doing the unique art of bringing new people to our table every month, but also keeping them up to speed on how our network functions. We've done that by establishing a common vision as that network table. to really help build the collaboration that we see. So we know that there's a number of different funding options. Lee's mentioned ESIC funding. I also come with $50,000 as a region. We have our community developers on the call. I know Cheryl wears a few hats as well. And there's a lot of other funding options that we're trying to connect them with. So at that table, we are really trying to see our community grassroots be that incubator for scalable ideas that help to improve the quality of life for communities in the capital region. So it really is a place for neighbors and other groups to come together and share and see and how we might work together. As Lee's mentioned, we did open up our funding applications and we've worked really hard on aligning our funding deadlines. For anybody in nonprofit sector, we know that there's like 1,000 hoops to apply through when trying to get that funding. So we've tried to make it really easy for community. So that we as a group have $100,000 on that table, 50,000 from regional resiliency at a provincial table, and 50,000 from Economic Social Inclusion Corporation through their community action grants. So we opened it up and we said, okay, community, we have $100,000 to improve our qualities of life based on these frameworks. There's some areas that I can't fund. There's some areas that Lisa's ESIC funding can support. And so we've gone through the two of us and we'll bring it to our executive team, which is comprised of other community developers in the region to look at all of these 24 applications. When we look at things, and Lisa and I actually had a meeting with our directors at a provincial table this morning. And they were very supportive of our alignment and gave really kudos on the work that we've done to try and align this to make it easier for community to understand how to leverage those funds. We've seen projects totaled, I think, just over $122,000. So now we have that unique art of trying to dwindle it down to 100,000. And how do we help improve that through partnerships or third-party funding? We had some requests around recreational supports. In fact, I had a meeting with Jumpstart, which is really a national funder. Spoke with their Atlantic representative and we're hoping to connect that to other applicants. So we're kind of weeding through some of the grant barriers that community are facing to help make sure those projects are funded. So I think we'll be successful in that. At this point, we've received those 24 applications. We'll give a presentation to the network on Thursday to show our full transparency of the applications we've received. This is my third year at this and seeing community funding. And I do have to say the applications we've received, we're seeing a lot of community collaboration. So a lot of partners already coming together. I just want to feature one project of particular note. We have Marian McIntyre, who's head of our geocacher in the capital region. She's faithful. She comes to our meetings every month. We connected her to Carly, I believe her name is, with the Military Family Resource Center in Armagto at our last meeting. And in order to make the deadline for October 3rd, they went elsewhere, found this incredible project that they're willing to collaborate on, and we'll be seeing more connectivity across really newcomers in a sense. We have families moving in to support Base Gagetown, and how do we support those families? So another example of how some of those project and partners are coming to the table. So from that, Lisa and I will meet between now and mid-November with all 24 applicants to talk about that grant application, to streamline which funding we use. We'll either use the ESIC Memorandum of Understanding or the Resiliency Memorandum of Understanding, just for simple accounting practices. We're learning from lessons in the past. Lee's talked about Dr. Crumb's project with UNB. It became almost an accounting nightmare when you say resiliency is giving 2,000, community development is giving 5, ESIC's giving 8. It's really hard to track that. So we're trying to make it easy for everybody. Yeah. And by doing that, it's just a bit more of a tailored approach when we're entering those grant negotiations and whatnot. So that's been really positive. The other piece that I wanted to just showcase is that we're really focusing on planning for 2026 and focusing on that structure. Historically, we never had a full day meeting. We trialed that in 2025 and the feedback we've gotten is really quite remarkable. A lot of those meetings, it might seem extensive to offer a full day meeting, but it's really about people coming together and sparking interest amongst each other. Typically, the first part of the meeting, I would give a brief overview for building the plane as you fly it. Here's why you're here. Here's why we've invited you. And then we spent almost 2 hours together going through a roundtable, and I normally ask them, what's the apple onion? How do we work better together? And that's what sparks the conversation. We have roughly an hour and a half to talk about regional collaboration projects. So for the last 3 months, we've talked about, what are we hearing and seeing? How might we fix it and who could help? And that helped to feed the strategic plan that Lee submitted to the Economic Social Inclusion Corporation. And that's really been our guiding force in addition to the strategic plan of the Regional Service Commission. The later part, we have lunch after, and then for 2 hours in the afternoon, we invite local groups to come together and share what's happening. So it's a way for an education to learn and see what's happening, because we know communications is everybody's biggest challenge when you're talking about regional initiatives. This month we'll have our Woodstock partners coming to talk to us about Planet Youth. And so focusing on how do we really get upstream supporting our youth, that next generation when it comes to mental health, really building in, I'm thinking of alcohol, drug use, reducing all the substance use is the word I was looking for, reducing substance use amongst youth. So it aligns really closely with crime prevention and public safety lens too. So really trying to get upstream of the stuff that we're seeing right now. And that's something we'll start to look at. And then that's kind of how we wrap for the day. Annually, when we look at our planning, typically we're in funding season right now. So October, November is funding. December, we celebrate. So I wanted to just give an open extension to come join us in December. Last year, we were in the Upper Gatineau Fire Department. This year, I believe we are in the Village of Fredericton Junction's Fire Department. And normally we do a potluck, and it's a chance for those that did complete projects this year to share and showcase the success of their projects or lessons learned. But I just wanted to extend that as we head into our winter months. But I believe those are all my updates so far, and would open the floor for any questions if there's time.
Okay, thank you, Carrie. Do we have any questions or comments for Carrie? Either online or from the table? Very clear, I guess, Carrie.
Great, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So next we'll call on our CEO, John Smith, for the Human Development Council.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, through you to the members. I just wanted to take this opportunity to raise some awareness. In your package, you'll see a couple of pages in there that come right out of the Human Development Council website. And I had an opportunity to have a conversation with one of the directors within the Human Development Council last week. And so for the vision or mission, I guess, of the Human Development Council is that it identifies and addresses social issues in New Brunswick through research, information, coordination, and networking. And very soon, if you go on and peruse their site, I won't pretend to be an expert on this council overall, but they do have an amazing amount of data. They have an MB data portal. You'll see that on page 2 down on the far left on the lower half of the page there that you can collect on or connect to. And it talks about, you can look at the homelessness issue in the 3 major cities. There's data on that. You can talk about 211, how that's being used. They talk about some of their research. They talk about their document portals. They have a new energy poverty report. And I guess of interest was when I was speaking to their representative, they said that they would be interested in seeing potentially a pilot project opportunity from the Capital Region Service Commission coming in, and they're putting out a round of applications or calls here shortly. And they were wondering, we talked about different interest levels that we may have, or what are you hearing? What could you do? And one of the things that I said, and it came up during our last meeting of the Community Development Committee, was the need to promote 211, the need to get that information out there, the need to have a navigator, if you will, or people navigating, trying to help communities navigate. And I guess I'm asking I guess our members, Mr. Chair, through you, is there something that you would like to see us put out there? You don't have to answer today, over the next week or so. If you come up with something, please let me know. And we can always try to work with Lee's and Carrie and the team and put together an application. But one of the things I hear consistently, and I saw, I'm not pointing Carrie out, but she did shake her head when I said about the 211, and I believe so there was a couple of our members at the last meeting raised about that. But community navigation, oftentimes people have a hard time navigating, whether it be government, whether it be local services, whether it just even being aware of the 211 process, the process that's out there, the number, like just getting that information out there in terms of community coordination. And I know that seems to be an issue. It may not be an issue in some areas, but certainly something we could look to partner with the community, or we could help to provide a service to the region. I'm wondering if that, something along that line would be something that the members would like to see us advance. And I'll certainly share, this has all been shared with you. Please share it with your community teams and we'll send it out and let you know. But what they were really looking for was, what is that? They do have some communities already in the region that they are working with, but they were looking for something that would be a step to bringing collaboration, people together, helping communities in the capital region. And they were just, they said that would be a good place to start on a project like that. So anyway, that's all, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to make sure that the committee was informed. I don't know if there's any questions or comments, but
Okay. Thank you, John. Do we have any questions, comments? Yes, Tim.
I just have a comment, I guess. You were talking about 211 and the fact that a lot of people don't really know what it is or haven't heard of it. And in my wearing my other hat at John Howard, that goes for 988 as well. So I think those two numbers are things that people really don't know about in the community, and they're both so valuable. And would save people a lot of issues with navigation, because you're right, it's often really difficult to navigate, especially government. Navigating government for applying for various things, or even knowing that that exists. Another example would be one of the things that we do at John Howard is we help people through the record suspension process. Right. And the reason why we actually have a whole program around that is because it's so difficult to do. And it's so, and so you need somebody to kind of hold your hand to get you through the process. So, I'm certainly, very supportive of anything that we can do to increase the awareness and the use of 211 and 988 as well.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Do you have any other questions or comments? Online or? Not, we're good. Thank you, John. Thank you, Doug. Again, we'll call on Lise for forums for 2026.
The form that, I guess the only one that I'm thinking about right now is the one that we want to hold for National Disability Week that I already mentioned under my other projects. However, I'm still going to be meeting, we're getting through the ESIC, we've got the regional plan for ESIC, and we're going to have our grants all decided for the coming year. But I'm still going to be meeting with my supervisor, Brett McRae, and of course, John, to talk about some of the needs and some of the projects for the commission. We're going to continue these 8 projects, but we're going to add to some of those projects, and one of them is going to be the National Disability Week project. The other thing that we may be collaborating with GFSI and it's in the spring as well, is their diversity and inclusion forum. So for now, those are the only ones that are kind of concrete, they're kind of decided upon. I'm not sure if you wanted to add to that. I know that as a result of some of the studies that we've undertaken lately, that will dictate some of the work in community development in the coming year. I'm not sure if I can speak to that yet, or we're still planning.
We can let a little planning out of the bag there, Mr. Chair, if you will. One of the things, I see Member Erickson has his hand up there first, so.
Yes, Greg.
Oh, I don't think I got it up for CEO, but I'm happy to take the opportunity. With respect to the forum, I guess I do have a question. Because it's kind of unclear to me whether or not or how we'll be working in conjunction with the organizations that are service providers in this area, right? Because we are not a service provider in this area. We're a convener. So are we convening the population or the population of service providers? And in either case, if we're doing something on their behalf, we better ask them some hard questions about what they think is appropriate and what kind of events they might have already underway for these weeks. I mean, we're not that far ahead of the curve in terms of planning for, a national day, especially if it's one that's pertinent to your group every single year. So I
Yeah.
guess we need a kind of pretty quick report back to scope this in, figure out what's needed. Otherwise, it'll be a general celebration and we could hand out muffins and cookies and raise a flag in front of City Hall all around the region. But I mean, I'd like to do what we can to, raise the profile and elevate the voices of the people that are, really contributing a lot of thought and time and exercise to the people in this area.
If you'd like, I'll answer that. Yeah, I guess the first step was going to be to convene a steering committee of people who do that business every day, who are the experts, and then go from there. So if they direct us to invite people, with lived experience or, but I guess the first step was going to be to convene a steering committee to decide just that. So yes,
Mhm.
point well taken. That's a good point. We don't want to waste time and just have another meeting to have a meeting. No, very good point. So that'll be our first step. Gwen and I have
Nice.
talked about it a little bit, and I think it'll be the steering committee directing our work as a convener. Yeah, good
As it
point.
should be, as it should be.
Yes, as they should be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Greg. Any other comments, questions on that?
Mr. Chair, if you will, I just to Lisa's earlier point. We had the joint meeting of the Community Development and Economic Expansion Committee. And one of the things that we did talk about was in and around physician and healthcare recruitment. And at our last board meeting, we passed a decision, or a decision was passed to allow us to start to advance to convene a meeting, as what Member Erickson said. We are conveners and we're looking to do that. I spoke to that in my CEO report. I don't think that's news to anyone, but there are more forums like that that will come up through the year from work that is being undertaken. There could also be something similar around regional transportation once we know the results, all the results of the data, all of that. Looking at that, how does that fit? How do we work together? There's a lot of work and a lot of ground to plow ahead of that. But at the same time, there are other things that are driving some of this information as well.
Thank you, sir. Greg, did you have another question?
I do, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Just quickly, who is doing the regional transportation study?
It was the same that the city used, Greg, was Englobe.
Oh,
We
Englobe.
used the
Okay.
same provider. Yeah, we used the same provider.
Nice. I wonder if they'll quote themselves when they reference the work they did for us. Because double dipping, that's a strong productivity ad. Anyway, thank you very much.
We're just tying the best together.
The real world, eh?
Yeah.
So you're good with that on the forms?
Yes, yep,
Okay,
thank you.
so to you, Lise and John, is there anything further to add on the 211 promotion?
Well, yeah, we had talked about, and yes, John and I had had a discussion because of the importance of 211 and how we could better promote that. And we had talked about talking to Brad James, who's our comms person and marketing person, to see if we can't have some kind of campaign, either in social media. But the problem we're running into, and Carrie and I run into this all the time, not everybody has Facebook, especially some of our seniors. Not everybody's got a computer or an iPad. So we're always looking for inventive ways or creative ways to reach some of these communities through sometimes community newsletters. There are fewer of those. some of those are being eliminated. And I know some people talk about going to grocery stores and leaving pamphlets or business cards or things like that, and that's a way, but we talked about possibly promoting 211 in a different way or through social media. And we also talked about the Voint Alert program that lets people know when there is something going on. For example, road closures or bridge closures or floods or closed ball fields. Everybody can register now. I'm not sure if all communities have registered for Voint Alert, but we think that it would be a benefit to maybe to have some kind of promotion of the Voint Alert system in the coming year as a project as well. I don't know if you wanted to elaborate on that.
Well, thank you, Lisa, and through you, Mr. Chair, to the members, we do have existing funding within our budget. Brad is extremely good at being frugal in terms of getting word out. And we can run this as both a social media and a print media campaign, if you will, not necessarily newspapers and stuff, but more to some of the ideas that Lee's were saying. If you notice, a lot of our in a lot of arenas, sport venues, sports centers, you will see the Capital Region Service Commission logo and website. And this is something we can certainly put up on our website as well and include in our overall advertising of the budget that we do each year. So it's not cost prohibitive. We have funding in place. And this is not tens of thousands of dollars by any means. This is thousands of dollars. This would be maybe a few thousand, 3 to 5 max. And I couldn't see it being over 5, but certainly 3 to 5 max.
Okay, thank you, sir. I know in my case, our community is registered with Voyant. It's our staff is still figuring out who's going to have the handle on it and monitor it. They don't want to just open up to many and several people, and it's new to us. We only have 300 people registered, I think, so far on it, but they're trying to get the handle on exactly who runs it. I think it's a good system. It just needs to be done properly, and that's what we're trying to do. So thank you, Lisa and John, on that. Elections. I had to ask John what this meant because I'm new here today, and I understand it's was brought up last committee on trying to promote the municipal elections, I think in May, and so we'll open this up to all if anyone has comments or whatever they'd like to address on this.
If I may.
Yes, Karen?
This conversation's come up more than I expected it at our network meeting. And I'm referring to Director Erickson as well, but a lot of folks are hearing and seeing and really not understanding the function of local government. And if I put my other full-time hat on, I'm seeing it in that office as well. So a lot of I will say mistrust or query. I was talking with Director Fox earlier, just, it's been hard for many folks at the table with local government, staff, and community to understand what's happened with reform and all these other curveballs. And as we get to the near of this 4-year mark, I think there is a real opportunity to do some education, promotion and awareness of what is the function of your local government. How, we're not partisan. How is that function really looking at it and digging deep into the grassroots? I'm thinking of Kathy Zwicker, who is a local champion in many different associations, speaking about, what is our civic duty, and how we might leverage some of that. So there's a great taste at the Resiliency Network table in summary, to either support that or be a conduit for promotion of the election piece. And I know when you get into, municipal offices, it might be challenging to do some of that promotions with Elections NB, just because everybody wants to stick to their lanes. So it might be another way to really get that message out, from a network point of view.
Yes, I agree to that. There's been some quite disillusions over the last 3.5 years, and hopefully if we can get some education and each elected person gets educated when they get elected, if they don't know a lot about the system. I understand, I don't understand. I know the city of Fredericton's different. They've been around for so long and so many years, but in my municipality, we were sprung from nothing. We're 3.5 months old 3 years and 5 months old. And it's all new. There's a learning curve. we've been fortunate. We've had a CAO with former experience that, as Carrie says, kind of keeps especially me in my swim lane and hopefully others. But I think the province needs to do more in having, for the lack of better word, classes or whatever to educate the newly elected officials in the municipal governments, especially the newcomers and the small ones. That's just kind of my thought on it, and I hope that can be done from the province, so. Yes, Tim.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think anything we can do to support election education, the better. Maybe first steps would be inviting someone from Elections NB to come in and have a chat with us. I noticed just now, and it sent a thrill, an exhilarating thrill through my bones. They posted the calendar for the May 2026 election, including something that I was unaware of, that 76 days before the election, you have to have your plebiscite questions in.
Exactly.
So that's the earliest moment on the calendar. Most of it doesn't happen until a month or so before an election, but they're already thinking election. And it wouldn't, I think, be a bad idea to invite someone there in to figure out how we can collaborate with them to get the word about elections in New Brunswick out.
So Greg, you'd like to see this happen before the election, not after?
Well, there's some benefit after too.
Just check.
I think our CEO needs to start a relationship with Elections New Brunswick and ask them what their thoughts are on the issue, because we weren't around here in the same configuration the last time. So.
Okay.
And Mr. Chair, if I may, just before Director Fox, sorry, just so that the Director Erickson's aware, the head of elections in New Brunswick and I grew up about 2 blocks apart, maybe 3. But I definitely will reach out to Ms. Boffenroth and her team there to get someone to come in, and that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, thank you. Tim,
Thank you.
sorry to put you on hold.
That's okay, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I'd like to see something before the election, because I really feel as though it's important that people who are running understand what their role is, understand what the decorum is around the table, at a council table, and that they have a really good feeling in terms of what it is that they're supposed to do, so that when they get to council, I know, and I also agree that there needs to be education after a person's elected, probably much more detailed education at that stage, but leading up to that, I think it's really important for people to understand what it is that they're, what the job is that they're applying for. And I would agree with you, Mr. Chair, that I would like to see that come from the province. I don't know whether that's going to come from the province entirely. And I think that if we want to best serve our communities, best serve the region, we need to play a part to help push that along so that that happens. And then the second part of that is to encourage more people to run for office. We have my understanding from Greg Lutz, who helped us through the process, the reorganization process. When I asked him the question, he said that roughly 50% of everyone of all of the positions are acclaimed. So 50% acclamations, and I don't think that serves democracy very well. So I think that we need to do 2 things. One is the education. Maybe it's even a video that somebody can watch, or something that's fairly easy up front, but very clearly says what the role is, so that people don't come in unprepared and in a position to cause havoc amongst themselves.
And I agree with you. I know in our municipality, there were 3 acclamations out of 8 positions, so Greg is pretty much right on the mark. And, you know, I think some people come in and they expect this as a social club. It's not. They kind of forget that they're professionally elected, whether they were acclaimed or not. It's a professional appointment by the people. And I think some people, as I just said, come in with the expectation this is just a, you know, kind of a leisure club or whatever and whatnot, and forget they have that public appointment to represent to the people's good of that community or that ward or whatever, so.
Mr. Chair, if I-
Yes,
just kind of teasing out the idea further that Director Erickson had and Director Fox in terms of having elections MB and maybe ELG come in from the local governance side. Maybe we could have them both at the same time and cast the net wider as we do with some of our economic expansion and joint meetings. When we have a large presentation, we'll call out and remind people, send interested people, send those who are your council that are responsible, that type of thing. We could certainly do that. I don't see that as a hard wash. And I would also just like to inform the table that these conversations are happening more and more around the province. I hear this from my colleagues in the other regions. They're very concerned as well. Everybody is concerned to try and really get awareness out there. To your point, training ahead of time before have training, you know, roles and responsibilities ahead of time. So people really understand what they, to your point, Mr. Chair, what they're getting into. It's not a social club. This is a very, you know, you have a lot of responsibility. Sometimes people just don't realize it until they get into the position, how much responsibility they have to their community. So we could certainly do that if that was agreeable to the committee.
Greg?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That would be agreeable to me. I'd like to add to our list of things to do, though, a moment where we scan at our own in-flight projects to determine if they've got any relevance to the election. For example, I would support a grant to urban rural rides on elections day to provide free transportation for people to the polls and back. I think that would be fantastic. I think we do something similar in Fredericton with normal transit. But, you know, it's something like that that really can take you know, an effort from mundane to, you know, exquisite when we fine tune some of our local projects to an election flavor if it fits.
Very
And if
good
it doesn't,
point.
never mind.
Thank you. Yes, Carrie.
If I may, another partner perhaps at the elections NB table, UMNB is talking about this as well as AMANB. So attending AMANB previously in Bucktouche this year, this has come up a number of times, so they might be an interested partner,
Oh, absolutely.
especially around education and those pieces too.
Great, thanks. Any further discussion on Lorraine? Sorry, Lorraine. I was looking for the yellow hand. You're on mute. Still on mute. There
Not
you
now,
go.
when it pops up in the corner. I'd just like to say that I agree with everything that's being said on this election business, because I was one of the ones that worked my butt off. And even though I've been acclaimed since, not always since 2012, I agree that people don't come to the table always understanding what our role is in the municipal level. Let alone any levels. But in particular, now that we've been 3.5, almost 4 years with our region, that it's really put another level in about that you need for understanding. So any information that we can get out to people who have an interest in getting involved in municipal or provincial or whatever, I think works. And as far as one other thing that was brought up earlier, the urban ride, I know it's a slip in. I know it's working really well in Oromocto, but I also have heard really good feedback, whether I'm down in the village of Gagetown or wherever we are in particular, and we're talking. with seniors who appreciate it, and especially seniors who are caregivers to their spouses. When to get them to the places where there is, for instance, Mindful Connections. I'm from Ormacto, so I'll use Mindful Connections. A couple of the ladies have said that is a godsend for them to just get the break and get their work done in their home or get out to take care of their own needs. So kudos to that program, and anything we can do to get more usage into that would be wonderful. But I still support the stuff about getting elections. And I did read in about orientation. And I think the orientation could be twofold, that it does definitely need to be before you're offering your name up, but it also needs to be after you've had your name up. I've only had one orientation. I think it was the first time at the Kick of the Can, 2012. Not had it since, but I'm a reader. I read everything. So not everybody it is. Not everybody clearly understands that when they have their butt in that seat, they're representing not only their residents, but their town. I'm speaking from municipal, and what it means to be there. And for me personally, it means that you take on that role. That has to be a priority role, not to your family, but to other things. And if you don't, I believe if you don't have that as a priority role, then you're not doing the greatest service for your community.
You know, that's the reason the councillors and mayors and whatnot are paid. It's some cases it's not a lot, some cases it is, but you're paid to do a job and you need to do the job. But just to add to the urban rural rides, I do believe that if you apply to Elections New Brunswick, if you're a senior and can't get out, if you apply soon enough, they will bring a ballot to your house. I don't know if everyone's aware of that or not, but that is a case if you can't get out. So just wanted to add that in. So
they'll bring them to nursing homes too.
Yes, yeah. Tim?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One other thing that might be helpful, I don't know, this is just kind of brainstorming, throwing it out there, but I think as well, for people who are new, running for council, I think it's worth their while to read their code of conduct from the municipality as well before they jump into this. Again, it helps them understand what their role is and what the expectation is at the council table.
Okay, very good information. Thank you. So we're good on the elections? Okay, general discussion and direction to staff. We've covered a lot of it, but is there anything else directed to staff? Hearing none, we're good. So could I have a motion for adjournment?
I move to adjourn.
Moved by Tim to adjourn. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by the second Tim. Thank
Nice.
you. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.